let's go ahead and dive into ideal client research. You guys probably know how important it is to get into the head of your ideal customer and really understand what they're looking for, what they need, what they're struggling with, so that you can find more success when you pitch to your potential clients. And ChatGPT can totally help you with this in a few different ways, right? You can really deep dive into your ideal client's head. And especially with you guys as calligraphers, just thinking about all of the different types of ideal clients you might want to work with. ChatGPT is going to be so helpful. I did a few little practice things with ChatGPT to be like, hey, I'm a calligrapher. Who could I work with? And I cannot believe all of the different types of potential ideal clients you guys could work with. And that must be really difficult to juggle in your own brain. Okay, what would this client care about? What would that client care about? And ChatGPT can clarify that for you and help you get into the heads of each of these individuals in a personal way so that you can really cater your pitches to them and say, hey, this is how it's going to help you. This is my solution. This is why you should choose me. Why should you bother with ideal client research? Getting into the head of your ideal client can really just help you understand your ideal client so that they feel seen, heard, so that they trust you more. It can help you nail your own messaging for your brand so that when you're showing up on your website and on social media, you're speaking directly to your ideal customer and they feel like immediately attracted to you, right? It can also boost your marketing strategy so that you know where to show up and who you should speak to, and also even help you with like individual outreach and stuff like that. And it can also help you create content that really resonates with your ideal customer so that when they happen upon one of your Instagram posts or whatever it is, they'll be like, oh yeah, this person is speaking directly to me. So the super cool part is when you use ChatGPT for ideal client research, you will actually be creating documentation or just knowledge that will help you train ChatGPT in the future to better understand who your ideal customer is, so that as you are doing this ideal customer research for yourself with ChatGPT, deep diving into all the different things with your ideal customers, you can use that information to then train ChatGPT to write better copy for you, write better emails, personalize its emails specifically for this ideal client that we just deep dove into, right? So that's what I love about the whole kind of training ChatGPT, firstly on your brand persona, and then also doing ideal client research, because not only is it helpful for you and helpful for maybe any VAs that you hire, any team members that you have, but then it's also helpful for your AI assistant that you can have it do better work for you down the road too, right? So let's talk about a few different methods that you can use when researching ideal clients with ChatGPT. The first method is if you don't know exactly who it is that you want to work with or who you want to pitch to, you can, of course, brainstorm who your ideal customers are. So this could be especially helpful if you are like a calligrapher and you have a unique style, but you're like, I don't know exactly, like I have all these people who I could potentially work with, but I don't know who I would match the best with myself as far as my style or the way that I work, right? So not only can ChatGPT help you like come up with all of these different potential clients who you could work with, if you tell it all about your brand and train it on your own brand persona and your style and all that different stuff, then you could ask ChatGPT, okay, based on who I am and how I like to work, like which one of these potential clients do you think I should work with the best, right? So there's a few different ways you could do that. One fun example that I wanted to share. So this is actually sharing a fun little ChatGPT technique at the same time as I'm sharing this example is this is a screenshot from one of your reels that you shared on Instagram and Irene's reels. And I just screenshot her reel. She was sharing about all of the different potential clients you could have as a calligrapher, right? And I uploaded that screenshot to ChatGPT using a file upload feature. You can upload Word documents, PDFs, images, anything like that. It can read the image. So I just uploaded a screenshot of this reel where she shared all of these different types of clients, right? And I said, here's a list of people who calligraphers might want to target based on Irene's reel. And this was ChatGPT's response. It took that entire list and it gave insights into what they might be looking for, what they might need as far as these different potential clients and whatnot, which is really helpful in general. But you could also brainstorm different clients by just asking ChatGPT, typing into the chat, who should I work with? What type of clients could use my services? If you do have specific services that you already love to do, that's again where you can ask ChatGPT based on my calligrapher's style of this, or based on my specific service of this, like what potential clients should I be looking for and reaching out to? So there's different ways you can do that. The second method you can use for ideal client research with ChatGPT is to deep dive into an individual specific needs, pain points, desires, and goals, right? So if you know specifically, okay, I want to work with distilleries or whatever, then you can say, okay, let's deep dive into this distillery as a potential client for me and my calligraphy services. What do they need when it comes to just in general, their branding that could potentially lead to my calligraphy services? What are they struggling with? What are their pain points, their desires, their goals? All of these different things are really how you can get into the head of your ideal customer and really understand where they're coming from, what they need, so that you can provide solutions for them and so that you can speak directly to them when you're pitching to them and in the content that you create, right? So in the next few slides, I have provided quite a few different example prompts, and I'm not going to go through all these different example prompts. I actually have provided for you guys the slides for this. So you should just be able to go in if you want to use any of these prompts that I'm sharing, you should be able to go in and just copy paste in the slides from the slide deck into ChatGPT, and you can totally use any of these prompts that I'm sharing. You can totally just use these prompts based on needs, pain points, desires, and goals. There's different ways to deep dive into these things, right? So you can ask, what are the top needs? What services do whatever target audience you want to do? How can my audience benefit from calligraphy in their businesses? I just wanted to point out that there's different ways that you can ask the question to deep dive into different facets of needs, pain points, desires, and goals. You could do this for any of the ideal clients that you want to work with. I provided examples for different industries based on what Irene suggested from her reel of like types of ways you could prompt ChatGPT specifically for these different industries. I did a few from event planners, PR agencies, wealth management, real estate, distilleries, restaurants. There's more, but like once you start getting into ChatGPT, you can have ChatGPT kind of analyze itself for you, depending on what your ideal client is. But just making sure that you're deep diving into what is like the psychology behind why they might need my services. What are they struggling with? Focus on the 4 pillars there, and deep diving, getting into the heads of your ideal customers is really helpful. And then the third method that I think is really fun for ideal client research is actually having ChatGPT analyze real life input from customers, right? Or feedback from customers, right? So that could look like sending it a website and having it analyze the reviews, the language that customers use, like what are they most concerned about? I know that your guys' potential ideal customers are a little bit different. So it's really interesting because you might be working with actually, I'm going to go to the next slide, the example, so you can see. So for example, maybe you want to pitch a Maker's Mark, right? And you want to pitch your calligraphy services to Maker's Mark. What I did in this fun little example is I just found a website, totalwine.com. I don't know, it had 800 reviews or something for a Maker's Mark whiskey bottle. And I had ChatGPT analyze the reviews for the tone behind the brand and how calligraphy might up-level their offerings. That's what I used for this prompt, right? And from there, it gave me an overview of Maker's Mark brand, what its customers care about, and how calligraphy might up-level their offerings. And so then from there, this is stuff that you can use in outreach emails or just in your own messaging. Calligraphy can provide rich heritage to your products, but it's really a cool way to get insights and get insights from real life customers. You could also do this with like comments on social media posts or anything like that. Some websites have the weird API stuff. The last time I checked, ChatGPT wasn't able to access Instagram because of Instagram's dumb API stuff. So for example, if you're ever having trouble with a website, you could always just copy paste reviews into the chat window, or you could screenshot reviews and put them into the chat window too. But that's just another fun way to get real life customer feedback and insights, right? So I really quickly also wanted to touch on, now that you have done some ideal customer research with ChatGPT and whatnot, how can you have ChatGPT improve your messaging based on the research that you just did? There's lots of different ways, believe me, but here's just a few. You can have ChatGPT turn the pain points that you just brainstormed into solutions, craft my messaging that addresses the pain points that they're having to target the specific audience and position my brand as the solution or my services as the solution. That's a really great way to adjust the language you're using in your emails to say, hey, I see this problem that you're having and my services can fix this for you, and really position yourself as the solution and also a value, helping them want to pay for what you're offering. But you can also align your branding and your messaging with their desires, really use the language that they are wanting to see, that calligraphy will help them achieve. You might not write an email to a whiskey brand the same way you would write it to a wedding planner or something like that, right? Like those are two different people, different ideals, values, different messaging ways that they would probably speak to their ideal customers. What you could do is have your pitch email written and then have ChatGPT customize that to be more aimed at the whiskey brand, or customize that to be more aimed at the wedding planner. You can use ChatGPT to adjust your messaging, adjust the language that you use based on who you're pitching to. And it can be so helpful and be so much more quick than if you were trying to do that yourself. The last side I wanted to hit on real quick is just using this stuff for then your content and also copywriting with ChatGPT. You probably already realized this, but ChatGPT can be used for so many different things when it comes to your content. But here's a few different ways that, especially once you do this ideal customer research and then adjust your messaging, once your chat window, ChatGPT understands all this stuff about your brand, your ideal customers, and your messaging, it's going to be way, way better at creating content for you because it will understand all of the stuff about your brand. Then you can have it brainstorm topics, draft blog posts, social posts. You can have it write custom proposals for you. Okay, so I have to tell you something real quick. This is something that I do all the time. I actually did it for your emails, Irene, when we were talking about this training. Irene and we're going back and forth discussing what should we talk about in this training with her people. How much do you guys know? What should we touch on? We had an email thread going. And so what I did when it came time to create this presentation is I literally just copy pasted our entire email thread. Didn't worry about copy pasting different parts or anything like that. No, just from top to bottom, the email thread, copied that into ChatGPT. And I was like, please organize this into an outline for a presentation that makes sense for her people. And so it gave me this organized outline. I didn't have to go back and forth and think about, oh, did I hit this point? Go back and scour our messages being like, oh, was I supposed to talk about this? No, ChatGPT just did it really quickly for me. So it can help you write custom proposals. If you guys do discovery calls or anything like that, you can throw the transcript of discovery calls into ChatGPT and be like, please write me a proposal based on this client's main pain points and desires that make sense for this client. So easy and so quick. You can have it create promo emails, write website copy, craft follow-up emails. And then, oh my gosh, this is a fun one that ChatGPT also came up with, actually. Create themed campaigns. So it was talking about like creating themed holiday campaigns for your calligraphy business aimed at the Christmas time for whiskey people. And like, how would you pitch yourself? Thinking about all the different nuances of ways that you can pitch with the help of ChatGPT is really helpful. Okay, before we get to the Q&A, I just quickly wanted to mention, I do have quite a few actually free resources. I have my Authentic AI podcast. I have lots of different freebies at this point, and I'm about to come out with another one for content creation, which I'm excited about. But anyway, guys, if you go to DIY with .ai is my website. If you do DIY with .ai/freebies, that's where I'm going to be putting all of our freebies that we have because I can't stop making them. And then also I have several online courses. If you're looking for a place to start with ChatGPT, our brand persona for ChatGPT mini course is helping you train ChatGPT on your brand voice. So I'm giving you all the prompts for really honing your brand persona, and then the two different methods of either having ChatGPT analyze copy that you've already written or describing your brand voice with ChatGPT. That's in this mini course. And this really does help you to hit the ground running, getting ChatGPT to work for you.